Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another market close. It is Tuesday, May 21st, 3:44 p.m. And no one can say I'm late because I'm 1 minute early. So literally, no one can say I'm late because I'm 1 minute early. Maybe I'll just have to do this every single day. Everyone's looking forward to saying he's late, he's late, he's late. You can't say I'm late when I'm early. All right. So I'm here. Time to do the market close. I've got a lot of coverage on Microsoft and the event. A lot of things I want to show, a lot of things I want to run through. So after the bell, we'll talk about Microsoft because there's a bunch of things to talk about and discuss. Look at Farzad saying we're late. I'm here and I'm live. The first thing I was going to talk about actually is Tesla. So shout out to Farzad, one of the best Tesla content creators on the planet. And let's talk about Tesla before we get into the market close, and then we will do all the Microsoft coverage after this. Tesla's up, and it hasn't had an update like this in a I mean, I guess I would say like 3 weeks, or maybe I'm a little wrong on the timing, but it just feels like Tesla has not had a day like it's having today. 6% in the green on Tesla. You know what's so funny? By the way, S&P 530.94. We might close at 531. My dad last night literally said, hey, maybe we should buy some more Tesla. And I was like, I don't know, because he has a 264 average, right? So we've been lowering it. I think now it's like 245 or something. But he was like, maybe we buy it at 175. I was like, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe there's some shareholder fears. Maybe there's some problems with growth, and the next quarter is not going to be that good. Can Elon really sell this FSD vision again? Then today, about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, we see this article come out. I actually saw this article like 10 minutes ago, quite frankly, because I wasn't paying attention to it. But I saw this article right here about PepsiCo expanding their EV fleet. I'm laughing at this comment by Bayray. This is hilarious. Amid 10 minutes ago, asking Twitter why Tesla's green today before he starts his stream and acts like an expert in the market. Dude, literally, I had no clue why Tesla was up. I was doing like a bunch of things today. I was just like not really paying attention to Tesla. And then randomly I see Tesla's up 6% and I tweet about it. I'm like, oh, cool. Tesla's up 6%. And then I was like, wait a second, I have to go live. I have no fucking clue why Tesla's up 6%. I'm like, why is it up? And so then I asked Twitter, and then I realized apparently Pepsi is expanding their EV fleet in California with Tesla semis. Now, let's see how this affects Tesla over the next coming days. Maybe there is still some volatility to the downside. Maybe the downside was that 178 level. We covered on the stream Warren Redlick yesterday, who is a friend of the channel, sold 20% of his Tesla position. I know it's got to hurt a little bit selling at 174 when the stock jumps 6% the next day. But this is the beauty of a company like Tesla. They can announce something, and your DCA at 175 might have looked a lot better than your sell at 175, because Tesla has the ability to encapsulate deals that some other companies can't. So let's read a little bit through this deal and we'll go from there. Pepsi said on Tuesday it would expand its fleet of vehicles in California, deploying 50 Class 8 Tesla semi-trucks and 75 Ford E-Transit electric vans at its facilities in the state over the next several months. The beverage maker said that the move would help step change the electrification of its equipment services fleet across California as it tries to achieve net zero emissions by 2040. PepsiCo first placed an order for 100 Tesla semis in 2017, making it the biggest public order for the vehicles at the time. However, Reuters reported Pepsi was only using 36 of the 100 trucks. The Tesla semi trucks announced today they will operate from Fresno, California's manufacturing facility. This is good news for Tesla. This is absolutely bullish news for Tesla. June says that Farzad did a video with other new info. Okay, so for those who want to get more in-depth details, make sure you check out Farzad's channel. He says in the chat, I think the bigger story is the UK laying out the groundwork to legalize self-driving cars by next year. Interesting. So it seems like two stories came out today. I think the Pepsi one is like kind of the core reason for why the market's at least reacting to Tesla. UK self-driving. I'm going to Google that real quick. Yeah, there you go. This actually came out 1 day ago. So here's from the UK government. They are saying self-driving vehicles set to be on roads by 2026 as Automated Vehicles Act becomes law. And this is a big middle finger to all the people that are saying FSD is going to have too much regulation. It's not going to be able to get done. There's, too many regulators are not going to be able to understand how FSD operates. Here you go. The United Kingdom, our boy Rishi Sunak, who's been very innovative when it comes to AI and embracing AI software. He gave the freedom for Palantir to make the UK their AI headquarters. He gave Palantir the NHS contract. I mean, this guy's really been on top of his game in terms of embracing new technology. He's saying, yeah, we've got to get ready for a world with self-driving vehicles, because if it's going to happen, it might as well happen in a more democratized society. Bayray says Tesla going up 6% on this semis news, which isn't that big of a deal, shows you how ready Tesla is to rip undervalued. Yeah, you know what's really interesting about Tesla, if we look at the chart, so Tesla bottomed out at around 138, you can see right there, on April 22nd. Then it got up to 198 right after those earnings. This was the earnings pump from 138 to about 165, and then from 165 rallies to 198. Then it was been a couple slow weeks for Tesla. I mean, basically a month later. Yeah, literally we're a month later from April 22nd now on Tuesday, May 21st. 198 bottoms out at around 169-ish. Now here at 186. I think if we're in a bull market, S&P right here looks like it's about to close at 531. Very hard to imagine that Tesla does not at least get the benefit of the doubt and gain some momentum from the market going higher as people try to allocate into different positions that they haven't allocated into all year. Farzad, thank you for becoming a channel member. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for joining and becoming a channel member. The other thing that's really interesting about this Tesla news is that if people are under allocated to Tesla, then if they're taking profits from something like an NVIDIA, that's probably going to crush tomorrow. We'll talk about them. Or if they're taking profits from, I don't know, what's another company that's up? Oh, GameStop, even though it's down today, but people might have made some money in GameStop, right? Netflix, that's up about 30% year to date. Like, those profits can make their ways into generational companies, which is what Tesla is. Even if you argue it's a bit overvalued, it's still down 24% year to date. So if the market, NVIDIA right here at 950, if the market is looking for more opportunities, Tesla might end up having some of those opportunities as well. And that could be beneficial. Someone says they have an Easter egg video. Photos of the robo-taxi are in the video. Let me see if I can find this video. Tristan, if you have the link, please make sure to send it to me. I didn't even know they came out with a video. That's how much I didn't know about what was going on with Tesla today. Okay, so yeah, if you have the video, let me know. But there is a lot of at least hype around this Tesla Semi and what it looks like as well. Alan, thank you for becoming a channel member as well. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for joining and becoming a channel member. I haven't seen the leak. No, I haven't. I haven't seen the leak. Shout out to Lena. I bought a house today. Wow, that's amazing. Shout out to you buying a house. I'm sure your plan is probably to refinance it in like a couple of years as these interest rates come down, but that's incredible. Congrats to Lena, who's been part of the chat for like the past couple months now on buying a house. Dude, I want to buy a house in like 2 years. And I want to move out of my parents' place by like 28 years old. I'm 26 right now. So yeah, basically I'll be 27 in a couple months. So basically in a year, I would like to move out. I don't want to rent an apartment. I would actually want to move out, even if I have to like rent out my house to someone else and live with someone. I'd rather like own equity in something. That would be nice. So let's see. Hopefully I'm able to join you in about a year. So that's the Tesla news. Bitcoin right here, 69,000. It fell from that 71,000 level. We'll talk more about Bitcoin in a second, but Bitcoin did have a little bit of a tough day as well. I mean, tough day in the context of, it's still up nicely, but it is down as well on Bitcoin. Yeah, if anyone has this Tesla video, let me see this robotaxi thing. Oh, it's on Farzad's channel. Oh, okay. So let me go to Farzad's channel. Let's see where it is. Oh, here we go. Tesla just shared massive robo-taxi clues. All right, Farzad, don't copyright strike me. We're gonna use your channel for content. We're gonna get through your stuff. Okay, let's have Farzad. Okay, how many? Okay, so we got this is the biggest story of the day. So let's watch Farzad as he's in the chat. He's gonna watch himself break down this Tesla video. And we'll get into the market close in about 7 minutes. So this is the biggest news. Tesla just shared some new robo-taxi stuff. Here's Farzad analyzing this. Here we go.
And I have a slowed down version that really highlights all the new information we got from this. So just in those few frames, you saw a bunch of new images come up that if you follow Tesla closely, you're probably like, what the hell is that? And so here's a version of this video with just the frames that I found to be new that I've never seen before related to Tesla. And we'll start with this one. So this one's very, very unique because it looks like a car that Tesla has never released before. If you look at the front of the Model S, the Model X, Cybertruck, the 3 and the Y, there's nothing really out there that looks anything like this, the rear or the front or the side. So this looks like a brand new vehicle. Now, what's super interesting about this one is if we look at, say, this image here, and I'll pull it up here. So this is a image from the Walter Isaacson book, the biography of Elon Musk that came out last year. And there was a chapter about robotaxi, so the self-driving platform. It's not exact, okay, but there are some sort of vibes that I'm getting from this still here that kind of remind me of this. And it's mostly back here. You kind of see the square shape.
If this was the robotaxi, do you guys think this is a good design for the robotaxi? If this is what it looks like, no wheels, and it looks like a 2-seater, what do you think that would look like if that was the robotaxi?
Thing here, the black thing here, and so there's whitish color. Of course, this is black and white, but I think from this still we can kind of get confirmation that this newer car, whatever it is, likely is going to have this sort of vibe to it, this sort of look to it. So these like square, sort of cyber style, things that it's got going on. One of the clues that we got in the book, in the Walter Isaacson book, is that this new vehicle, this robotaxi, would have a cyber style to it, very similar to the Cybercab and or to the Cybertruck rather. And these angles kind of, I think, speak to that a little bit. It could also be the front. It could also be the front where they've redesigned it from a picture to an actual physical version of the prototype. But that's what I get from this image. I get this. It looks like to me something to do with this thing, which is a 2-seater, purely self-driving vehicle where none of us are going to have to use steer wheel and pedals. It won't even have it. And in the interior, we'll also get a lot of clues from that video as well, because there's a bunch of new images, which I'll share as we go through. Now, if we move forward a little bit, and I'll speed the sucker up a little bit, then we get this image, which is, we saw a sneak peek of it on Tesla's first quarter earnings report, which looks like a mock-up or an actual version of the iPhone or Android app that Tesla is going to use for hailing a self-driving car. So you can see here is the map going to Stanford Shopping Center. I'm guessing somewhere in California, with the estimated time of arrival, perhaps of the car coming to you, how long it's going to take, how far away it is, the climate inside of the car, which I'm sure you can change with the phone, the volume, the radio volume, I'm assuming 3 out of 10. And then you can see also here the seat setting for cooled or heated seats. Now, what's very interesting about this one is I'm quite confident that none of the current Tesla models have heated and cool seats in the back of the vehicle, which that implies that this thing here probably relates to this vehicle, where it's going to have both seats are going to be heated and cooled. So that's a cool little thing there. And there's a lot more about this app that I'm going to show you in a little bit, but very interesting thing. We haven't seen that before, I don't believe. So that was really cool to see. Then there's this frame here, what I'm guessing is a Tesla engineer. And
this is the picture I saw yesterday as well. So this is kind of describing maybe what the robotaxi looks like.
Franz von Holzhausen, who's the lead designer of Tesla, designs the cars and stuff. Congrats for being married. We can see the ring there too. But this to me looks like very obviously the interior of this compact car. So we kind of saw the images here as a 2-seater. You can kind of see there's 2 seats there, and I have them blown up here as well. So this.
Okay, so that's Farzad. Shout out to him. I'll put his channel in the description. You can check it out. So the reason Tesla's up, if you're just joining, Pepsi announced the deal to buy more Tesla semis. They announced that in 2017. They're ramping up right now. That's why the market's excited, up 6%. But also, apparently, this robotaxi Easter egg video came out, and you can watch the full thing on Farzad's channel, where it seems like they're showing a 2-seater robotaxi with no wheel as the basis for what the robotaxi will become. Some of you are saying in the chat, it doesn't look that good. Some of you are saying it does look good. I think I would just have to see a more clear picture of it and video of what it looks like. Usually most cars or most drives on Uber are 1 or 2 people, right? So I don't think you need some amazing new version of a car that fits 4 or 5 people. At least for the first couple of years as you're just scaling up, you probably only need a 1 or 2 seater. But it is interesting. It would kind of be like a little pod you step into, and then the thing just uses neural networks and AI and just takes you to where you like. It's kind of crazy. So I guess we'll see what they end up coming out like. in the coming weeks. 8.8 is going to be very, very important. And so going back to the stock, one of the things I'm thinking about in the context of the stock is that if you've made money elsewhere in the market, and we'll talk about Microsoft today and all the different announcements they had along with Bitcoin and a little bit more of the macro. If you made some money, Tesla's down 25% year to date. Having Tesla run up to 200 is not crazy. I don't think it would be that crazy, especially if as we get closer to 8.8, Elon outlines a more tangible vision for what the robotaxi rollout will look like. And maybe the market ends up buying that argument, given they have profits from other stocks that they want to diversify into other areas. It's either IWM or something like Tesla, something that's beat up that needs a catalyst. And I would imagine robotaxis obviously are going to be a pretty good catalyst as well. And so that's what we got. Tesla, nice green day for Tesla. Tuesday, May 21st, 4 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, markets closed. Let's see how we did today. NVIDIA, 953. Tomorrow is going to be insane, dude. Tomorrow is going to be insane. We have Snowflake after hours. We have ELF after hours. We have NVIDIA after. I mean, it's just going to be an absolute crazy day tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Lowe's and Macy's had earnings today. Or if you saw me on the market open, Moe's and Lacey's, if you caught that mistake, had earnings today. And those earnings were good. Tomorrow we have Target and TJX that have earnings in the morning as well. So going to be a big day for earnings, and we'll see how that plays out. And Lowe's and Macy's did really well today as well. QQQ 455, Tesla 186, S&P 500 531. I think today's the first day we close at 531. We closed at 530 last Friday. Now 531. Absolutely incredible for the S&P 500. Continuing to gain momentum as money starts flowing in to this market. Faraday Future was down 22% today. GameStop was down 4%. Oh, I forgot to mention some craziest news. It was some of the craziest news this morning. What's his name? Robert F. Kennedy. He invested $24,000 into GameStop. For those that didn't hear this news, yeah, it was a thing. I'm going to read his statement real quick, and then we'll get back into some of these equities. But Robert F. Kennedy invests $24,000 into GameStop. This was the most creative political advertising, but also the most cringe political advertising. Robert F. Kennedy says, "I'm very aware of what the average retail investor has been saying about the need for greater transparency in our market, stronger regulatory oversight, and tougher penalties for market manipulation. My administration will support the Ape Retail Rebellion." To match action with words, I just invested $24,000. I'm pretty sure that's like a regulatory thing, why it's $24,000, because I don't know why else he picked that money. From the fees I earned from suing Monsanto for their knowingly poisoning our soil and causing cancer. Okay, so he made $24,000 off some legal stuff, and now he's investing in GameStop. I love the idea of making Monsanto support GME and the apes. We need a free and fair market. Let's punish predatory short selling to the moon. By the way, I ride with you and I'm not leaving. So, you know how in the morning I talked about Roaring Kitty kind of being the savior of the GameStop movement. And then I talked about, what's his name? Andrew Tate being the savior. And like, it's essentially just grifters grifting, and they're trying to take advantage of, they're trying to be predatory and take advantage of innocent people that, want to make money, but they're kind of manipulating their attention and selling them this fantasy. Yeah, that's basically what Robert Kennedy's doing, in my opinion. It's a cheap way of buying votes. Doesn't make a lot of sense. There's nothing around fair and free markets around GameStop. I mean, you could kind of take that angle from a market manipulation perspective, but it's kind of cringe in my opinion. So there you go. You got some GameStop momentum there. GameStop was down 8%. Now it's down 4%, maybe because Kennedy bought in a little bit more. Let's look at the Max 7 as we close the day. Apple at 192.35. Wow. Apple has not seen 192 for, I believe, about 3 months now. Last time Apple was at 192. Yeah, I was right. January 24th. So been about 3-4 months until we got to those levels for Apple. So nice to see that Apple got there. Oh, this is a good question. Do ape votes? If people who classify themselves as apes don't vote, then this 24,000 and this marketing campaign is not necessarily the best idea. We got someone in the chat that says Farzad is a shill, and then we have Farzad agreeing that says Farzad is garbage. That is the way to handle criticism, is basically just to accept the criticism that you get. Did I tell you guys someone told me to go kill myself yesterday in the DMs? And dude, the follow-up from this is the most hilarious thing. So they said, go kill yourself, and I just didn't respond. I was just like, okay, this person's having a bad day. Then they said, I never got the trust fund money that my dad promised me. I cannot make this up, dude. This person was having a conversation with themselves in the chat or in the DMs. And I'm just reading this like, what is going on here? Yeah, look, I'm reading this right now. I didn't get contacted. There's a reason my trust fund was hidden from me, and the reason my entire family was murdered. It's a lot of money. I mean, look, dude, I don't know what that guy's got going on, but I'm not sure what's going on with his trust fund. So, yeah, sometimes you got to just deal with the criticism and take it on the head. Okay, so we got Tesla here at 186, Nvidia 953. Let's check on some of the crypto stocks today, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with crypto. Bitcoin 69,419, Ethereum at 3,700. Now, one of the really interesting reasons about of what's been going on with Ethereum is that Ethereum has not given up its 20% gain over the past day. 3,700, it was at 3,000 yesterday, 69,000 on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin got rejected at that 71,400 level. Ethereum now at 3,700. The spot Ether ETFs look like they're getting more likely to be approved. Another news source outside of Bloomberg today reported that, yes, it seems very likely that it's happening. So the market's not selling Ethereum, because if it happens, then Ethereum's going to get some more momentum as well. And if that's the case, it makes sense that Ethereum should be running a little bit. Bitfarms is up a little bit after hours. Robinhood, incredible day. I'll talk more about Robinhood in a second, but $20.96, $20.93 after hours. The fact that we're getting a constant bid at $20.90, $20.80, $20.70 on our way to 21 means that people are easily buying Robinhood in the high 20s because they know what's coming. So really nice to see Robinhood staying above $20 and really staying in the high 20s, and we'll see how it continues to go from there. Bitcoin here, 69,456. Now, I mentioned this morning, 3,250 Bitcoin were swallowed up by the Bitcoin ETFs, and only 450 are mined every single day. So we got some people who decided to sell and take some profits on Bitcoin. But if that can continue to happen, if the ETFs can continue to make sure they swallow all of the Bitcoin that are created and even more Bitcoin that are mined every day, then I think this thing is going to get really fun, because at some point there's going to be a lot more momentum with the swallowing of the Bitcoin that are created every single day from the ETFs, as well. So that should be good for what's going on in regards to Bitcoin. Jonathan says he's not talking about GameStop manipulation. He's talking about how Wall Street keeps getting bailed out by the government on the backs of taxpayers. I get it. The problem is, dude, it looks really cringe saying that we're going to hang out with the degenerate apes and we're going to take this thing to the moon. And that's not to be inflammatory towards the apes. It's just the idea that the GameStop apes or the AMC apes are going to take over the financial industry. That was an idea in 2021 when there was an actual legitimate argument because GameStop was 150% short. That's not the case anymore. And if GameStop goes back to being 100% short, then I would agree. Like, yeah, there's an argument where you can go against the manipulation, but trying to embody yourself with the roaring kitties of the world to make an argument about Wall Street, I just think sophisticated investors are like, this is bullshit. Most of them do. And you could argue GameStop's manipulated, but you could also argue it's a pretty shitty company and it probably, doesn't deserve the greatest valuation. So the fact that he's buying it outside of the fundamentals just to buy to align himself with these people, I don't know. I don't know if it's the best marketing. It's creative marketing, but I don't know if it's the best marketing at the end of the day either. So, we'll see what ends up going on right there. But that is one thing that Robert F. Kennedy did today as well. Now, some other piece of news, and then we'll get into all the Microsoft coverage today. Nancy Pelosi, she has hit $250 million of her net worth today. She's up $10 million year to date. And the question I had for everyone, and we'll ask this to the chat, and then we'll move on from this. Do you think it's corruption, or do you think she's a stock picking genius? Farzad says, jumping out. Thanks again, everyone, for the awesome coverage. Everyone subscribe right now. Appreciate you, Farzad. Thanks for being here. And thanks for the amazing Tesla content that we get to steal on this channel and react to for free. Thank you, Farzad. Appreciate it. And I think it's a legitimate question, right? You could argue it's corruption, which I think it's corruption. But she buys like Google and Nvidia and Palo Alto Networks and Disney. Like, she's not buying some underground stock that no one knows about and then it 5Xs. Now, the timing of when she buys these stocks are a bit peculiar, I would say. It's just a little weird. But it's not like she's buying names that aren't known. Like, anyone can follow Nancy Pelosi. So these are her top holdings right now. You've got Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Google, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, Amazon, Tesla, Alston Bernstein, which is a financial firm, and then Disney. It's not that crazy of a portfolio, dude. It's basically the S&P 500. It's just the timings that she has when she's getting into them makes it feel a little weird. Okay, most people are saying it's corruption. Most people, it's definitely insider trading. That's 100%. It's definitely insider trading. I just wanted to bring up the point that like it is just basic names. And the reason I agree with its corruption is because like I think she bought Microsoft right before, if I'm not wrong, they got a deal from the Senate for like $10 billion, like a cloud computing deal. It was either Microsoft or Amazon. This was about 2 years ago. And it's like when you see stuff like that, it's just hard to trust them, dude. It's really hard to trust them. But outside of that, she's buying the names that pretty much everyone is buying. And it also seems like she likes buying names. I mean, it seems like she cares about the stock market, or at least her financial advisors do, because she's one of the most active politician traders on the planet. You know, the other politicians are not trading as much as Nancy Pelosi is. Okay, where's Tesla after hours? Let's check Tesla. Also, we'll talk about Palantir in a bit. Palantir was flat on the day. I bought like another 30 shares of Palantir today. Wow, Tesla 187.20. Not bad, a 0.3%. Palantir, again, flat on the day, 21.20. Really not a lot of movement here on Palantir. AIP or Chad from the AIP developers channel just released a new video. We could probably react to that at the very end of the stream. But they did release a new video around AIP, so we can watch that and see how the software is being used as well. Tesla 187. Looks like the market likes it. Now it's up almost a full 7% on the day if you include after hours. Trying to make a run to 190. Again, Warren Redlich made headlines yesterday selling 20% of his Tesla position at 174 off the fear that Elon would not be granted the compensation package vote. It's really nice to see Tesla green right before that vote takes place, or that vote's live right now. Put in the chat if you voted your Tesla shares. Put in the chat if you voted your Tesla shares, and also put in the chat if you voted no on your Tesla shares. Really curious to see how people thought of that. I know a lot of people that were selling in the 160s, 170s. I mean, even Vitaly, I think, was selling around this range as well. Like a lot of people. And so I don't blame Warren Redlich. Like a lot of people sold Tesla. Like they've been very afraid of what's going on with Tesla. Some people are saying this pump we're seeing right now is fake. It's not real at all. And so, I mean, I guess we'll see how it ends up playing out. But the Pepsi deal is at least decent enough for the market to get excited. And then if Elon gets the compensation package that he needs, maybe that's enough of market momentum to get Tesla moving as well. Let's get an update on Tesla right here, and then we'll move on.
With Tesla, stocks at the highs of the session up near 4%. Adam Jonas, Bryn of Morgan Stanley, reiterating his overweight today.
Adam Jonas also did continue to affirm that he thinks Tesla is a buy, so that's also helping the stock right now.
Investors to pay close attention to that June 13th shareholder vote over the pay package for Elon Musk. How closely are you watching it? Is it in any way in your mind a binary event in how you'll think about the stock?
If they voted to not give him the compensation, yes, that I think that will pass. To me, it doesn't make sense that they would say no to that. So I think it would be binary if they voted no, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think also today I saw, Pepsi announced a partnership with Tesla. As I've said before, I think the next couple of quarters are going to be murky for the stock. And so as Chinese EV sales are growing, but at a decreasing rate, US sales are declining. It's like you have to get through this time period. And so when fundamentals are murky, you need to look at technicals. And the chart is still in a downtrend, finding a base here. And so I think 187 is resistance. I've sold calls on this position. I don't think it's going to get called away. But I think that this is going to be the year, if you don't own Tesla, if you believe in like the Adam Jonas narrative of it's going to be mobility, which is robo-taxis or some type of Uber, it's going to be cars, it's energy, insurance, it's the network, then that's how he gets to the 310. I read the report.
Yeah, it's a big price target, right? 310.
Right,
sorry
but it's not this year.
310. I know, but it's still a big jump from where it is today. Mm-hmm. And if you factor in what you suggest could be a murky road ahead over the next couple of quarters.
Yeah, I mean, $64 was what he had accounted for mobility. Just like mobility, I don't think exists today, right? So I think he could clarify if I'm wrong. That's a much, much longer term time horizon. I just think this is a stock that right now is in a downward trend, murky for the next 2 quarters, but I'm bullish longer term. So I have my position. I'll sell calls and just like trade around that.
I mean, look, it's relatively fair to me. Not a crazy argument to make in terms of what's happening with Tesla right here. After hours, wow, 187.05. So maybe it tries to hit 190 after hours. Would be nice to see if Tesla can get to those levels. I think at the end of the day, if Elon gets affirmed, and it's my opinion, the Vanguards, the BlackRocks of the world, they're not using their hundreds of millions of shares and voting no on this package because they know that Elon's the guy. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, all these institutions are betting on people. and they care about those people. And if they're betting on people, then they're betting on people in a sophisticated way. Barry says, Amit, did you vote with your one share? First of all, I have 20 shares. Okay. Still have 20 shares at like 174. And yes, I voted with my 20 shares. Now, I wonder if that one share, for those that don't know the one share, this is the one share. This is the one share courtesy of Mr. Derek Wall, because he lost a good bet. It's a real physical share. Tesla actually sent me the receipt the other day. And I got the official certification from Tesla that I own their stock. The average is 183. I was trying to see if I have the receipt in my desk. It's probably over there, but it's 183. I wonder if I can vote with this share. I don't know how. I don't know if I have to contact the investor relations and tell them what's going on, but if I could vote with that one share, imagine that one share is the difference, dude. Imagine it's like a 8-8 vote, and it needs to be 9-8, and my and one share is the 9th vote. That would be hilarious. But look, I think Elon's gonna win it. I think Elon's gonna win it at the end of the day. And if Elon wins it, I think it's gonna be very hard for Tesla to end up losing this debate. Vanguard voted no last time. Really? Wait, really? That's a thing? Vanguard Tesla vote? I did not know that. That's incredible. They voted no. Huh? I didn't know that. Oh, hold on. I just got a Reddit thread. Oh, that's the Leo Kogan. So Leo Kogan, that retail dude, yeah, he sold. I mean, he's voted no as well. Interesting. I did not think institutional investors would actually vote against Tesla. I really didn't think that would be the case, because I think they know at the end of the day that it's Elon or bust at this point, right? Like, I mean, who else is making FSD real? It's not some random dude they put up there. Now, the Tesla senior execs leaving, like the Dan Biglinos of the world and Rohan Patels, that is a little, concerning and weird. But at the end of the day, it's Elon Musk. All right, let's ask this question for the chat, and then we'll move on to Microsoft. Do you actually think, anyone in the chat, do you actually think somehow Tesla could survive and become a couple $1 trillion company if Elon was not at the head? Because when I asked this question on Twitter 2 days ago, I was surprised that a lot of people in the comments saying like, yo, get rid of this guy. Like, we're tired of this political nonsense, all this stuff. And I was like, I get that part is concerning as a shareholder, and it's stuff you don't like to see. But I don't know who's taking Tesla to the moon besides Elon. Like, I genuinely cannot imagine anyone could do what Tesla's doing. Do a poll. Okay, let's do a poll. Here's going to be the poll. Tesla to the moon without Elon. I think Elon is the investment thesis, dude, at the end of the day. I mean, there's a lot of things to it, but I think at the end of the day, it's Elon. Like, it's just hard. Benny says, if Elon's out, I'm out. Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Bring Jassy over from Amazon. Even though I love Jassy, I do feel like you need someone who's a bit more visionary like Elon. Now, Jassy is a visionary with AWS, 100% a visionary. But I really do think, like, even designing the robotaxi, you need someone like an Elon Musk who's pulling that off. And so I think it's Elon or bust. Robin at $20.93 after hours. I think it's Elon or bust. And if Elon's gone, then they're gone. I did not know Vanguard voted no last time. I did not know that. I thought it was 73% last time. I thought pretty much all the institutions voted for him. Now, granted, that time Tesla was 50 billion. Now we're at 500 billion. So the institutions have made money if they've been in the stock for a while. I would imagine they still want to make money. And if he's the guy who made them the 10x, or at least even the 2 to 3x, given when they got in, if they didn't buy literally at the top, then I think they would still want to have Elon be the guy. Okay, we got 78% people say no. Wow, 22% actually say yes. Tesla can go to the moon without Elon. Tesla, John says, I clicked on no by accident. Elon can. I don't know, dude. I think it's Elon. I think it has to be Elon. Love Deep Sing says free Tesla from Elon. Apple without Jobs is operationally better, but very less innovation. Yeah. I think it's the same Apple without Jobs. Now, look, if when Steve Jobs passed away, Apple went up 1,300%. Since 2011, which has been, an incredible gain for shareholders who trusted the vision over the past decade. Tesla's a different animal, dude. Tesla's not selling phones and laptops and iPads. They're selling cars, and cars are hard to build. They're hard to get a margin on, and they're really hard to sell given the competitive nature. I mean, Apple has competition, but they're a pseudo monopoly when it comes to really good phones at the end of the day and the operating system for those phones. So I guess in the Western world, in developing parts of the world, they're just too expensive, and there's a lot more competitive competitive practices there, especially with Huawei and Samsung. But in general, Apple had the best product You could argue from 2011 to at least 2017. I don't know if Tesla can figure out a way to get away with that if they don't have someone like Elon at the hedge. Tesla's so much more than a car company. I agree, but the problem is they got to sell the cars to be able to monetize the FSD and the software part. And if they don't, then it's going to be hard to imagine them continuing to take off. All right, let's talk about Microsoft. Microsoft announced a bunch of AI features at the day. We also had Satya Nadella, who sat down and gave his thoughts on what he thinks is going on in the world of AI. So let's get an update on some of the things they announced, and then we'll keep going from there and what this means for the broader tech landscape and for NVIDIA. Here we go.
Microsoft CTO Kevin Scott on stage, giving a lot of demos of ChatGPT 4.0. That is, of course, the new language model that ChatGPT OpenAI launched last year. That's the one that lets you have these sort of natural conversations. We're also looking, hey, friend of your show, Sal Khan from Khan Academy is also on stage talking about the tutoring benefits. We actually saw Mr. Khan last week also at the OpenAI and Google events as well. And this is really the big theme of this developers conference is giving developers the latest and greatest tools to run on Microsoft's Azure cloud. Like I've been saying for so long, that is where Microsoft sees the most financial benefit so far from all this artificial intelligence boom. These developers in the room right now, there are about 4,000 of them downstairs from where I'm sitting. They're the ones who are going to be using the.
Wow, dude, 4,000. That's the developer ecosystem one day, hopefully in a decade we have for Palantir. That's incredible.
Technology, the kind of groundwork of these OpenAI, of these AI tools in order to make their own apps and stuff building off of these systems. So right now we're getting that example of what the Khan Academy vision is for that. And I'm sure people downstairs are going to be experimenting with more, Kelly.
I'm surprised, just a minor note, see, but it's interesting that, like you said, Sal Khan can show up at the Google event and the Microsoft event. And yeah, it's just, these are fierce competitors right now. We've talked about the gloves coming off in the AI wars.
Now, here's a bear perspective. We had Gene Munster from Deepwater saying, and he's big on Microsoft. He said this event actually was not that exciting for Microsoft. Here we go.
This, how he's playing the AI trades. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. Welcome. It's nice to see you. So
good to see you.
I look at the notes here. I mean, you don't own Microsoft, and I get the feeling that you're not as all in.
Sorry, Gene doesn't own Microsoft. They own Tesla and Apple. That's what his firm owns. So Microsoft, Google, Meta are not their plays. Tesla and Apple are their plays out of the Mac 7.
On this name, as some other investors that we speak with. Why not?
There's two reasons. First is, as part of our flagship Titan product, we just want to have concentration, and we don't want to just hug a benchmark. So we don't own all of the Mag 7, for example. So we have to make some decisions there. Microsoft's in a good place relative to the opportunity in AI. So that's one piece to it. The second piece is if you just take a big step back and look at what's happening today, today was underwhelming for Microsoft. I like Steve's word wonky. That sums it up. Was what had that feel to it, because really what we saw a week ago from OpenAI laid the groundwork for what we saw today. And it reminds me that Microsoft's future is in the hands of OpenAI. They have 51% ownership. It's or more than 51% ownership, 51% of the profits. They have more than 51% ownership. But the bottom line is that this relationship is incredibly strong today. There's no reason to think that it will get fractured, but that is a dynamic. The companies that we do own, Google and Meta, related to the AI opportunity, are the only ones that are in total control of their AI destiny. So that's why we have that's why our portfolio is positioned that way.
I mean, you portray it as if, you know, Microsoft, while great now, is in more of a position of so-called weakness rather than strength because of that dynamic and the relationship with OpenAI.
Yeah, I don't know how else to think about it. The reality is they're two different companies, and the reality is that really what OpenAI, what Microsoft brought originally to OpenAI was a lot of money and separately distribution. And I think that as OpenAI continues to explore their options, you know, they're on the table for doing something with Apple coming up here, getting access to those 2.2 billion active devices. Google pays $15 billion a year for that in search. And so I think that that is just an important piece, is that AI is the brains of the future of all these companies. And it is a little bit concerning to us that Microsoft really isn't in control of that destiny at the end of the day.
And that's a big point, man. Microsoft actually is not fully in control of what that destiny looks like. And That's why they can't tell Sam Altman what to do, because they're the ones with the power. And worst case scenario, Sam Altman will just get the Azure credits or the computing credits from some other company if they really do hate Microsoft. So I think OpenAI does have more leverage. Here's Satya Nadella today speaking about AI on Bloomberg.
To really work, you've really got to trust your PC with everything about you. Will it know you better than a real assistant or a friend or a colleague? And are we in relationship territory?
Yeah, it's a super important one, right? Which is, to me, there are two things. One is, how should one think about privacy? How should one think about safety? And then the third is, how should we relate to AI, right? All of these are important. So let's take them, even unpack them, right? On the privacy side, that's where I think there are going to be needs for real private information. And whether it's in the enterprise side, where people say, don't train on my data, that's the assurance we have for anybody in the cloud even, or the new PCs we just launched yesterday, right? Which are all about keeping everything that you're doing on the PC local. So that's on the privacy side. Safety is another one, right? Which is, how do I make sure that whatever I am doing is safe? I'm safe from adversarial attacks. And then the third is the relationship side is like, I don't like anthropomorphizing AI. I sort of believe it's a tool.
Bro, what did he just say? Anthropomorphizing? Hold on. We got to see, what the fuck did he just say? Anthropomorphic. Hold on.
Anthropomorphic.
Why does Google employ these girls that like make me fall in love sometimes with their voices? Relating to, characterized by, really amazing definition. Relating to or characterized by anthropomorphism, whatever this is. Having human characteristics. Oh, so he's saying he doesn't want to make AI human. Okay. Why didn't you just fucking say that?
It is got intelligence, if you want to give it that as moniker, but it's not the same intelligence that I have, right? I think one of the most unfortunate names is artificial intelligence. It's a different, I wish we had called it different intelligence even, because I have my intelligence. I don't need any artificial intelligence. I just want my intelligence to compose with this different intelligence so that I have more agency, quite frankly. So I think of that as the relationship I want to have with AIs around us, where I want help. I want it to assist me, get more, take GitHub Copilot, which is, I think, the hit product of this age. I love it because as a developer, I can stay in flow, do my development, and this AI assistant is helping me in that process. And that's, I think, the ideal relationship.
Okay, now there's another part of this interview that was also pretty funny. This is when Satya starts talking about the concept of meetings. And this was pretty funny because he kind of has a contrarian take to what people say about meetings. Most people, I'm pretty sure people here in the chat have jobs, corporate jobs. You hate meetings. Yeah, Satya thinks that you probably shouldn't hate meetings, and AI will help you not hate meetings in the future.
Teams Copilot service. And I wonder if, I think about all the things that we hate about work, meetings, email, expenses, and hope that all of that is about to get a lot better. Let's take meetings, for example. How will AI change the meeting experience?
First of all, if you look at my most used Copilot feature today, there are two things, in fact. One is I use Copilot to be able to summarize, like, for example, if I'm walking into a meeting, I say, hey, were there documents that I need to read before going to a meeting? And it comes back and says, yeah, there are these 3 documents. Then I say, can you summarize them? It summarizes them. But even better for me is my prompt called, turn it into an FAQ. Because I love that, because it allows you to actually think through the questions. Similarly, in meetings, the meetings Copilot, one of the things even today, it's not a transcript, right? Everybody complains about meetings, but what one should really complain about is not being prepared for meetings, not paying attention in meetings, not remembering what happened in meetings. The meetings Copilot helps keep the knowledge always front and center for an organization. So the feature we are launching is really this thing called Team Copilot. This Team Copilot is going to be in the meeting and everywhere your team is working on. For example, if you're doing a project and you want...
All right, so be honest. If you are someone who's in meetings all day, do you think this is actually going to increase your productivity, and do you think your organization would pay for it?
Project management assistant, this Team Copilot will help you and all your teammates. It's kind of like having an AI teammate that helps you.
Well, on that note, for all of this to really work, you've really got to trust your PC with everything about you.
Okay, and that's the part we just listened to. So his argument is, hey, meetings are going to get better, and it's not about meetings being bad. And people, in corporate America, everyone's like, oh, I hate going to meetings. It's about you not being prepared for the meeting. And if the AI assistant, the co-pilot, can make your meeting much more effective and better and much stronger, then meetings are just going to get better. I kind of think he's right about that. The question is the implementation of how it actually transforms the substance of a meeting and the output it creates from that. But if it's productive, and it's productive in the sales and marketing aspect of an organization, then the other organizations, the project management, the accounting, the financial parts of the organization, they're probably going to adopt it as well. They're going to give it a trial. And if it makes every meeting more effective, maybe shortens the times of meetings, maybe AI is the solution to stupid corporate meetings that don't actually create a lot of results. Even Jeff Bezos, he had a really good quote on meetings, basically around the idea that he doesn't want to, see a pitch deck or PowerPoint in meetings. He wants to actually ask real questions and get answers. And if AI helps do that, maybe that's what we see in the context of meetings as well. Fedric says, to make this work, all documents, etc., have to be organized and in the cloud. SharePoint realities, a lot of stuff is local on machines and so not available for the AI to work with. That's where I think the unstructured segmentations of data coming together is what gives the breadth to the AI agents or the AI co-pilots to actually generate any meaningful results. And we'll watch a video. Palantir just released the new developers video. We'll watch that in like 10 minutes and go through their newest video on what they're doing with AIP. But I think Palantir honestly can play a role there. And even if Palantir doesn't play a role there, I think in general, someone's going to have to solve that problem around unstructured data. I think Palantir can, because if not, then none of the AI is actually going to get the meaningful types of data or variables of data that are needed to actually fuel the co-pilot in a sophisticated way. June says, University of California's hospitals are installing equipment to take notes during doctors' equipment to listen and take notes. Dude, this is like, again, so many examples we're seeing around AI just starting to become more omnipresent in every aspect of our lives. I talked about it with Credit Karma the other day. We're seeing this now with what June's saying around hospitals. It's happening. It is happening, which is why NVIDIA should crush tomorrow. NVIDIA right here at 9:54 after hours. Let's do another poll here. Let's see what you guys say. NVIDIA over 1,000 tomorrow after hours. Let's see what people say. NVIDIA over 1K after hours tomorrow. Let's see what people say. I am going to say that would be what? How much of a move would that be? That would be 5% up, right? Roundabout. I think that's not 10% up. That would be, 5% up. Basically 5%. 5% up gets them to 1,000. 5% up gets them to 1,000 from 953. Would NVIDIA split their stock? I think they should. I feel like a stock split is coming. I was going to say they probably aren't going to, but then again, they split 4 years ago or 3 years ago when they were at $800. They're above 800 at this time. So I think they should. Last time they weren't able to hold 800. So I think that's why they didn't do it. But I think if they're above 1,000, they should split. Everyone on the street announced a price target increase for NVIDIA. Oppenheimer, Barclays, Bank of America, all these guys basically said, send this shit to 1,200. Robinhood after hours at $20.97. And as a result of that, if they do a split and they beat and raise on guidance, dude, I think over 1,000 is not that crazy. And if they do a split, I think it's definitely having a shot of getting over 1,000. Ali says 5.6 EPS. Let me see what the street's expecting. The street's expecting, this is tomorrow, right? 22nd. The street's expecting 518. Okay, so you think they beat by, oh wow, like 50 cents? Yeah, that'd be a big beat. That'd be a big beat. LRCX Lam Research. I actually didn't look at their stock all day, but I knew they did a split. Up 2% on the split. Huh? And they announced 10 billion in buybacks, so that's good. Now again, their market cap's at 126 billion. So smaller than NVIDIA. But if NVIDIA does it, dude, 2.5 billion shares would become 25 billion shares on NVIDIA. It would be pretty damn incredible. Okay, this is a good point. DG says if it goes to 1,000 before earnings tomorrow, sell. I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be nerve-wracking, dude. Because if it rallies, last time it went down before earnings. It went to 684. And the whole market was just like, let's go to the chart. I remember that day, dude. Like I was raising cash that day. I was like, oh boy, it's the end of times now. If NVIDIA crashes, we know what's going to happen. So let's do year to date. So we were 473 in the beginning. And then by March, we got to 974. This was the red day where it fell. It went from 740 down to 660, 659 around. So 740 to 659. And then right after that, it jumped from 659 to 817. And then ever since then, it really hasn't come down. It fell down 10% last 2 weeks ago down to 756. That's when I bought the dip as well. And I'm up 22% now on my $1 that I bought the dip for NVIDIA. But since then, it hasn't really been tested. And one of the reasons it fell to 755 is because of SMCI. They didn't give preliminary guidance, which is what they usually do. And so the market got super scared that, oh, if SMCI doesn't have good guidance, NVIDIA is going to suck. And so they tanked NVIDIA 10%. But I mean, that was just another irrational thing that happened by the market. There was no reason for fundamentally NVIDIA to fall 10% that day or throughout that week. Actually, it was a day. Yeah, it was in one day. There was no reason for that to happen. But that ended up happening as well. Rafi says, can't believe I bottom ticked Tesla at 140. Can't take any credit since it was an automated weekly buy, but LOL still pretty neat. Oh, that's a good question. Who bought Tesla at 140 this year? Who got the bottom on Tesla this year? I definitely did not. I thought Tesla was going to 100, to be honest, or like 120 after earnings. So I was wrong on that. So 68% of you say NVIDIA over 1,000 after hours tomorrow. I think so too, dude. We're in a bull market. S&P is going the way it needs to go. NASDAQ's up high. NVIDIA is going to beat and raise. Every catalyst in the world is there behind NVIDIA. They do a stock split, any type of a buyback. I don't think they're going to do a buyback because they're in growth mode, but if they do a stock split, they have a good earnings. We should get over 1,000. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. And you should love that even if you don't own NVIDIA, because every single stock in the market theoretically should get a little bit of a boost just by overall liquidity entering into the markets and the market tending to go higher, right? So even if you own Google or Meta, they should get a little bit of a benefit. The S&P should get a benefit if NVIDIA goes a bit higher. Palantir as well should get a little bit of a benefit. We'll watch that Palantir developer video in a second. But I've been reiterating, I think Palantir has been flat because the market at this point just wants to see increased growth. They're definitely fairly valued at $47 billion. I think it's hard to say they're massively undervalued. You could argue they're slightly undervalued. You could definitely argue they're slightly overvalued. But I think at $21, I don't think it's going below 20. And I don't think it needs to be 23, 24. So 21 to me seems like a Goldilocks zone, in my opinion, for buying Palantir, because I don't think we're going to see 21 in a year. I think, the 29s, the 30s are going to be in play, especially after a year of growth, and probably CAGR at 25%. And I just think it's hard for us to see below 20 unless the entire market takes a dip. So I think it's an accumulation phase for Palantir. The other thing I think people forget is Palantir's up 30% year to date already. So after it's up 30%, it's going to be hard to get more premium until we see more growth. And that might take until the end of Q2 to get to that growth as well. Snowflake is tomorrow. Snowflake is tomorrow as well. Tariq says, why would Palantir benefit off of NVIDIA? I did a long post about this on Twitter. I'm just going to share the link. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But the key argument is that if NVIDIA has more GPU demand, then that means there is more demand for training models. And if there's more demand for training models, you need something like an AIP to connect the information from those models to an organization's data. You don't get the demand for AIP unless organizations care about LLMs, and LLMs are contingent upon more GPUs being trained. So, or at least the advancement of LLMs, right? You need Meta open sourcing these new parameters, for their models. You need GPT-5 coming out because that makes organizations more effective, and organizations then require something like a third order derivative software like Palantir to use AIP to connect it all together. So I think NVIDIA is a very obvious indicator for Palantir, even if it's not literally proportional one-to-one, but it matters. And as long as we see good NVIDIA earnings, I think there's definitely a shot that Palantir could benefit off that as well. Here is the tweet in the chat if anyone wants to read it. Okay, cool. Oh, AMD tomorrow. Yep, AMD is going to be an important one. Shout out to TJ. He closed out my TSLL puts. He texted me today on the plane. He was on the plane. He closed them out for like $1,500. If you guys remember, I'm managing a little bit of his money in his portfolio. And look at this. Another 1,400 scalp on TSLL, right? And then right after he does it, he texted at 9:30 a.m. Then Tesla goes up 6% on the day, and he's like, "Damn it, I left 4,000 on the table." So TJ messed up me making $4,000 today. But then again, I don't think he knew that Pepsi was good. By the way, if you're a Tesla shareholder, you cannot like Coca-Cola. There's no way you can be a fan of Coke. You've got to drink Pepsi, dude. You've got to support Elon. So I think if you're a Tesla shareholder, Pepsi is now, or Coca-Cola is now irrelevant for you. It's Pepsi or bust. Okay, let's go to this Palantir developer video. let's go to this Palantir developed video. So we still made $1,500 on the put, which is nice. He closed them early and closed them for a good gain. But we could have made more if we just let it ride out and given Tesla pump today as well. Cool. All right, so let's get into this video. All right, so that's the end of the market close. If you want to leave now, then you are free. Feel free to leave. Thank you all for being here. We will have Matt Hogan on the channel on Thursday, 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. He's going to be live. He's the CIO of Bitwise, $2 billion assets under management for Bitcoin, one of the top 3 Bitcoin ETFs. So we'll be talking to him on Thursday. But now we're going to watch a 9-minute video. I'm going to leave it uninterrupted by Chad, our boy from Palantir. And this is him basically showing how he's using AIP, which is Palantir's flagship software, in a hypothetical scenario for construction. So I've seen like about 5 minutes of this video, haven't finished the entire video. We're going to watch the video here. But for those that are interested in actually understanding how this software is used in the real world from Palantir, this is going to hopefully be a good video that gives us an understanding of what it looks like. And so we'll play that right now. All right, here we go. Here is Chad with AIP. By the way, he has a voice of Howard Stern, or at least I tell him his voice is as sexy as Howard Stern's. So be ready for his deep voice.
AIP for connected construction. AIP is going to give me a common operating picture for my organization and my construction sites. I'm bringing together data from my different sources like Autodesk, P6, Maximo, Procore, invoices, purchase orders, emails, all of the unstructured data across my business. I can create powerful workflows on top of this for things like alerting, decision simulations, AI-assisted automations. This is going to help me manage my sites more effectively and ultimately make better decisions. All right, let's dive in. When you start a project, you have this pristine plan that lays out years of work, labor, and cost. But as we know, things change. How do you keep track of those and adapt to it? With AIP, I'm able to look across my portfolio sites and get a top-line view of these critical metrics. So you can see in the example here, I've got 6 projects with alerts. I spent $13 million last month. That's 23% underestimated. That's great. On the flip side, on my estimated cost this month, I'm up 117%, projecting at $29 million. Probably something I'm going to want to dig into. And then I'm also down 2% on my percent of work orders on schedule versus last month. Another thing I'm probably going to want to dig into. So each one of these sites is likely managed in a different way with different contractors, different systems. AIP brings all the data from these different systems together. For example, P6 from schedules, Maximo for work orders, work planning, Procore for on-site work tracking. This is foundational to make operational decisions across my portfolio. So whether I need to transfer machinery from one location to another or manage cash flows to get through this crunch, that's all in this cockpit. Awesome. All right, let's dig into one example. So we click here, you can see Hazleton, Pennsylvania, this site, and the project in some high-level view. So if we click here, we can see the site again and some different metrics with a little bit more detail just for this site. So you can see one project is made up of many, many work orders. So it could be hundreds, thousands, or hundreds of thousands of work orders to finish a project off with some high-level metric for this project. So if we click on schedule, then we can also see things that are alerted. So I can go in and generate alerts. Hey, I want to know when something started later than it should have, like this one, or the work's taking longer than expected. What do I need to do? Are we blocked on material? So this gives me the key indicators of what I want to dig into and look at. All right. If we click on the schedule, you can see here, this is some of our dynamic scheduling primitives. So I can understand on the pucks, all the different work orders, how they're laid out in the order they need to happen. So I know, for example, in this case, maybe I'm going to be behind on materials. There's a shortage of this and there's some supply chain constraints. I'm going to need to move this back by about 4 weeks. So I can come in here and say, let's shift this back by 4 weeks and then hit submit. So in the dynamic scheduling here, I'm working in these scenarios to play out what all these different changes will look like to my overall project plan. So right now I'm just actually playing the scenario. So I can see the changes that I'm going to make. And then when I'm done, I can actually hit review on those and then submit them back to P6 to make it the operational truth of my business now. So again, this is closing the entire loop, integrating across all those systems in real time. All right.
And this is also connecting the real-time data you have in your organization to the sort of core Foundry layer, the ontology, that allows the AIP logic to then pull from that data to then make sense of it when you interact with it on an LLM level. So this is the stuff that the organizations that are paying Palantir are paying tens of millions of dollars for in order to be able to integrate from as Sham said on the podcast, that we were on a data integration pipeline problem. But then the business intelligence and value from it, I think, is where the AIP abstraction layer makes more sense on.
All right, I'm back at the main project page here. So we just got done looking at the scheduling tab. Let's take a look at the design tab now. So shrink the map down, and you can see here, this is actually the BIM file for this project itself. So I can actually come and interact with this natively inside the platform. This is pretty slick. So I've ontologized this unstructured data, this 3D model from the BIM file into my business. Now I understand each component of the BIM file and how that links back into work orders or materials across my business. It's pretty cool.
And that's the value, right? As he says, when I've ontologized this 3D mockup to my business, now the stuff that matters, like work orders from the bin file, that's the stuff that creates productivity and, at the end of the day, top line revenue for an organization. And I think that's ultimately what Palantir is trying to sell for the clients that are engaging and integrating with AIP.
When we do that, what does that unlock? So first of all, you can see here we actually have a chat feature. So this is pretty cool. Like I can see how many columns are in the project. So 179. What is the total volume of the columns? You can go do the math across the objects and ontology for me. That's pretty slick. We can also have it show the columns in the actual BIM viewer here. So while that's working, I'll show you, you can actually see how it's doing this as well. So in here, I can see the tool usage, understanding how it actually navigated the ontology, found the right things, filtered to get the math of 179 columns. Similarly, here on the volume calculations, I can understand and see the tool usage. This is trust through transparency. Very cool. All right, cool. Now I can actually see the visualization to show me the 179 columns in my BIM viewer, and I can go inspect and look at them. So this is how I'm bridging my unstructured data, the BIM files, with my structured data and allowing AIP to navigate across. It's pretty impressive, but is it valuable? Chat is still a limited interface. So let's see how we can make more operational value out of this with my procurement process. All right, so now we're on the budget tab. So we looked at schedules and how we ontologize data from one system for schedules, and we've looked at the BIM files in our design tab. Now in the budget, I need to understand what my actual true costs through invoices and other financial reporting. So now that I've been able to ontologize all these different pieces, I have all this data in one place that I can understand and navigate in real time to get a pulse on my cash flow and use this information to help make different decisions. So in this case, I can see where I'm running on my budget. I'm able to generate these alerts so I can stay focused on where am I varying from plan, and I can go dig in. Because these are all connected through the ontology, I can look at this work order, understand the schedule, the raw materials, all the things that are needed, and I can triage and actually root cause fixing these problems before they get out of control, helping keep my project on time and on budget. That's awesome. So normally we have these contracts and we go through procurement to set these contracts in place. Those are the agreements that store all the information about our relationship with our supplier. Let's dig into that a little bit more. So if we go to our procurement center here, you can see this would be like a normal contract with a company. And so this is a pretty short one. This is only 5 pages, right? So this is a pretty small one. Usually there are tens or hundreds of pages long with all the different terms, and then even things about the costs, discounts. All of that is in these PDFs. It's very unstructured. So we've done another video on procurement. We'll put a link in the note here so you can get a deeper dive on how this actually works. But you can see this PDF, we've actually used AIP to extract summary of the key terms out of here. So I understand what's in place for this contract at a high level. And then I can do even Q&A asking it about this contract. Instead of trying to read through and find keywords in 100 and something page PDF, I can ask it questions using AIP, and it will give me answers back using the document as a source of truth. All right, and then we can also extract things like key terms. Now we ontologize the different key terms that allow me to essentially look and compare the terms versus the invoices. Are these invoices following the terms of the agreement that we had in place? And they can flag that in alert where we're having variance from what those agreements say. It's pretty cool. And then you can even see the price component. So as I'm trying to track costs, now I can have the actual prices, discounts, everything from the contract bounced up against those invoices, making sure that I'm paying the right amount to my vendors. This is pretty cool.
And again, all of that was done via AI, right? You just extract all that information constructed within the ontology they have. And then, I mean, that's where and then when you ask questions to it via a chat interface, you can get answers. But what Chad is showing here is that it's not just about asking questions from the PDF via chat, right? Like any software could do that. It's about taking the granular types of that data, like supplier selection, framework agreements, et cetera, invoice evaluations, putting them together, and then being able to derive business intelligence from them in a much faster and sophisticated way than you would just by asking a chatbot answers about the PDF.
All right, that's great that I have my procurement process in place for setting the contracts up, getting all the terms in there. That's awesome. The rubber meets the road when I actually need to go buy things, get materials for my projects at the right place at the right time to keep things moving. All right, so this is a simple example. This is an easy email. It could come from another system, phone call. Lots of different sources can be integrated. For the simplicity's sake here, this is just a simple email. I need 160-watt light bulbs for this Dallas construction project by the 24th. So we're going to walk through the steps that are going to be automated here. So this first one is actually going to parse it. So you can see it got submitted, it parsed it, it matched it to the ontology. This is how we ground it in the truth of your business through the ontology. So you can see I've done that. I got the order quantity and the date that I needed by. That's awesome. Very cool. Show you this little modified button here. Everything across the platform, we want humans in the loop that we can review it. This is trust through transparency. You can come in here and audit what's being done, change things as you see fit. Then we get into the materials. So I might need this 60-watt light bulb, but maybe another 60-watt light bulb is more available, cheaper in the area that you're in. So can I swap those out? This is where material harmonization comes in. We just did a video on this. We'll put a link to it so you can go dive deep into material harmonization with AIP as well. We'll put it in the notes here for you. But here I have 3 different materials that might be very like items that I could use to fulfill this need for the project. Pretty cool. So I can find everything through the ontology about where it's been used before, how I've ordered, what vendors I've used. All that's right at my fingertips. Then we look at vendor comparison. So now I can look at, hey, I have a framework agreement. I have a contract with this vendor, and they happen to be the lowest lead time at the lowest price by quite a long shot. This is a pretty no-brainer situation. So, hey, I'm going to select this vendor is what I want to move forward with. That's great. Then we get to the last step of the vendor selection. So you can see in here, AIP's actually automated the order for me because it had a high confidence score. We had a framework agreement in place. It's the lowest cost, lowest lead time, meets all the requirements. I'm just going to place the order on your behalf. This is great. This is how we start to scale and allow humans to get more done, but still give the transparency. This is key to adoption of AI in your business.
And I think this part is really here, this trust through transparency. Well, I'll just let the video end, then I'll give my final thoughts. It's about 20 seconds left. Here we go.
AIP for connected construction is one of my favorite AIP now applications because it brings together so much of this unstructured data into one view and makes it actionable. It's giving a unified picture of the critical information about your construction sites, then allowing you to create sophisticated workflows that are driving your organization to move from local optimization of sites and tools to global connected optimizations of your business. So what you saw today was just an intro. We'll go deeper in future videos, so stay tuned.
All right. Really cool stuff by the man himself, Chad. He's actually with us in the chat. He joins right here. Shout out to Chad. He just asked any questions on what you guys are seeing. If you have a question, we've got a literal Palantir employee who's in the chat right now who can answer your questions. I know some of you had questions about ontology, things of that nature. So if you put in the chat, he can definitely take a look at them and probably give an answer in the chat as well. Mark says, how much is your voice box insured for? Yeah, Chad, we definitely had a significant number of comments around your voice. We had someone who said that, good God Almighty, that voice. We had someone else who said, we're very jealous of your voice. So there's 2 things I get from that video that helped me understand AIP a little bit more. And again, I saw a lot of demos at the DC conference that I was at last week. So I got to talk to a lot of employees that understand this at a deeper level as well. And what I walked away from that DC conference in regards to learning about Palantir was the connective tissue behind an ontology, which I understand at like an abstract conceptual level, and then AIP. And what we got in this video, I think, is another version via construction to understand that. So there's 2 things that I got mainly from that video. Number 1 was the connecting of an ontology of an organization's data to the logic of what AI can do. AIP can connect with that data, and then how it derives business intelligence. And in the specific use cases and at least operational workflows that Chad looks at in the video, I think it becomes very apparent that the value of AI, and this is some of the reasons why people have not been that trusting of a ChatGPT for the enterprise, for example, is that the value of the AI comes from what Foundry is, the thing that Palantir has had 20 years to be able to develop, which is the ontology. Without the ontology, without the structured data from all the unstructured segmentations and silos of data that exist, there is no operational use case for AI. It's just that simple. And then on top of that, you've got trust and transparency, which is the second part of the video that really talks about how do you keep humans in the loop? How do you make sure humans aren't unemployed because the AI is doing everything itself? And how do you protect against the confidentiality of the nature of the information being leaked or exposed or not being granted the privileges it needs to be granted without keeping humans in the loop? And I think that's another thing that AIP tried to care about as well, or at least the video tried to care about in the context of the video, or in the context of this use case for the video. Now, their developer channel has a lot of these videos, and this is the latest one about connected construction. I thought the visuals on this were really good, but there's many other videos, as you can see right here. Chad's done, I think, about 4 to 5 of them. And if you guys explore this channel, as you can see, he has customer service engine, public safety, power shutoff planning, procurement. All of these are just use cases of AIP, but it's, you know, it's not the entire AIP suite of products. And so there's a lot of stuff in AIP. Palantir announced that Palantir developer free to sign up accounts where you can plug in your credit card and start using them right now. You can literally go through a lot of these modules and workshops yourself if you want to get a better understanding of the software. If you are an investor in the company and want to see it a little bit more. Someone says, can Palantir be used for telecom? Chat says, yes, we have some very big telecom customers and use cases as well. I think we know, I'm trying to think the name of the telecom customers, but I think in it's like 2021 video, I talked about some of the customers Palantir has in regards to telecom, but telecommunications is a massive industry and there's a lot of innovation that's happening there in regards to how AI makes them more operationally efficient as well. Chat says, on bank loans, yes, we have workflows around evaluation and processing. Ontology is the nouns and verbs of your business. It is the digital representation of how your business operates. And I think if you're a Palantir investor, you've probably, you know, at some point got tired of hearing about the concept of an ontology, but I think that is the thesis at the end of the day. And I think that that's also the differentiating moat from a Snowflake, from a Databricks, et cetera. It's like, if you understand the ontology thesis when it comes to Palantir, everything else starts to make sense in regards to the use cases for energy, healthcare, supply chain, logistics, media. We saw the Ring Gear partnership was extended a couple of days ago in Switzerland. Like, all of that relies on ontologizing data and structuring the unstructured and then layering AIP on top of it. If you put ChatGPT for the enterprise and deploy it against an enterprise and there is no structured data, and this is what Satya was literally just saying right now on Bloomberg, it's like there's no value to AI. There is no AI because the AI is only as good as the data that you feed it, right? An LLM is only as good. Like, that's why ChatGPT sucked a year ago, because it was only trained up to information from September 2021. So there wasn't really that much intelligence you could gather from it when you needed real-time data. And I think Palantir is going to ultimately be the picks and shovels for how that plays out as well. Chad says, yes, we do it for our own operations. Going to show you a behind-the-scenes video soon. Someone asks, do you use AIP for the company itself? Yeah, I think that would be a great video, Chad, if you guys could show how Palantir uses AIP in the organization itself, because we know there's a lot of fancy clients using Palantir, but Palantir themselves using it is definitely a way to show how AIP operates. Kirkle says, I bought Tesla. All right. Oh, bought Tesla 142. Not bad. I think you're probably behind the stream when I asked who bought Tesla in the 140s. So not bad at all. So again, I think this is really cool for Palantir. It's really interesting stuff. I think we're going to get more and more videos showing how the use cases of Palantir operates. Stock, I know, has been flat. Again, I just want to keep reminding people it's up 30% year to date. The thing is, we got that 30% really quick. We got it literally in 35 days. February 5th, boom, stock's up. And at one point it was up like 55%. So it's going to be hard. If the stock was at 17, 18 and, you know, went to 19, 20 and then 21 by the end of December, we'd be like, oh, it was a great year. We went from 16 to 21. But because we went from 16 to 21 in a month, you know, it can definitely create some impatience. I personally think if the fundamentals of the business are getting better, then that is, at least for me, more accumulation time versus being annoyed at the flatness of the stock. Chad right here says, Palantir is a one-of-one from a platform. You could try to stitch together a bunch of tools. I tried before I came to Palantir, but it does not scale or operate seamlessly. That's another thing people need to remember about Chad if you don't know who he is. But he's worked in big data and tech for the past 2 decades. And the reason he came to Palantir, in my understanding, is that he was pitched that it was going to be one of the most interesting places he works at because of his experience in big data, and how he could use that experience to work in an integrated environment for data that was the real deal. You know, that was not just little tools here and there trying to structure what what enterprise value from a business perspective could look like. And that's why he took the job. That's why he left his other corporate jobs. And now he's at Palantir. And now he is quite literally doing 2 things for Palantir. Not only is he a forward deployed architect, but he is also he's a social media manager for the company. I joke and I tell him that he is the social media team for the company. This is his Twitter right here. If you're not following him, make sure to check him out on Twitter. I'll put it in the chat as well. but he is basically the head and shoulders of their social media. What I mean by that is that he puts a lot of good content out on his Twitter around what's happening with Palantir and how to think of their software in a more meaningful way. So definitely one of those people that you got to follow if you care about Palantir on Twitter. John says, the devs in my organization keep saying we can just build what Palantir is doing due to us being a small software dev firm, but stitching all of these together is not smooth at all. Yeah, I agree. And that's why, that's the other thing. That's why Palantir hasn't scaled to small businesses that much, because for SMBs, you may think that you don't need something like a Palantir, that it's too intense. And, to be fair to the SMBs, Palantir hasn't really pitched themselves as a thin software, so it's kind of intimidating trying to procure them. But as soon as Palantir pivots from like, hey, the Airbuses of the world are paying us tens of millions of dollars to buy Palantir, to like, your restaurant could pay us 20 grand a month to buy Palantir. Like, I think that is a major unlock for the business. That's basically how Snowflake has scaled to 9,000 customers. About 450 out of the 9,000 are paying them $1 million or more per year. The other, 8,500 are paying small amounts. And I think that also can be a game changer in regards to Palantir's ability to inevitably scale. Chat says, I hear it all the time that we can just build it, but in reality, they can't. Yeah, I mean, this also speaks to competitive moats and network effects, right? Like someone saying, like Threads saying they're just going to copy Twitter and build what Twitter does. It's like, you can't do that. You could pump it to all the Instagram users and get people to make accounts, but you're not going to replicate the network effects of Twitter. And I think it's the same thing with enterprise software to an extent, right? Like Microsoft can say, hey, we're going to make something like Slack, and then we can sort of commoditize it. Yes, in a consumer-facing application, there's ways to commoditize things of that nature. But Microsoft Fabric or Amazon, what they call Amazon Q, we haven't heard of that in a couple of months now. Those being AIP killers. And when you look at the demos, they're primarily just chatbots, at least to my understanding of it. It's hard to see where the real innovation is, or where the real taking of Palantir's moat, which to me is defined as the ontology, is. And if you can't find that, and if organizations, US customer commercial count going up 70% year over year, if the reason these guys keep buying it, maybe it shows the reason people keep using Twitter over Threads. Maybe it shows that there's some deeply ingrained network effects and moats in that software. That's hard to get rid of. You'll not replicate FinTwit without people. Exactly. Arnie's referring to financial Twitter. You can't make financial threads if the people on financial Twitter are not coming to financial threads. And same thing with Palantir. If you don't have an ontology, you're not going to replicate what you think they may be able to do. Chat says right here, let me ask here, if I made something for your personal life, what would it be? Imagine AIP for your personal life. What do you want to see? Oh, that's a good question. Let's end it off on that. So if Chad had to do a demo with showing AIP for your personal life, what would you want to show Chad, or what would you want him to show for your personal life? Chad, if I had to request, if you could prioritize my requests out of everyone else's requests, I would want a personal AIP to track all the girls that I talk to. Because it's tiring, dude. Like it's really tiring sometimes. It's like, it's getting to the point where it's like Jessica, Sarah, Linda, Melina. It's just like, I don't, it's very difficult sometimes to deal with this. So if you could figure out a way to organize the schedule I have in terms of texting these girls back, that would mean the world to me. Alan says Amit wants an AIP on how not to burn eggs. Oh my God. Thank goodness. I went to my mom last night. I was like, Mom, you interrupted the stream with the fire bell. She's like, I know, I'm sorry. So she didn't do it today, I guess. Maybe I don't even know if she's home right now. But yeah, what would you guys want him to show? How to manage my day-to-day tasks. Okay, that's fair. I also think another thing is just like, day-to-day task is the biggest one. Rescheduling. I think health is another one, right? If you connect like my Apple Health data, my running, my calories burned every morning, like use cases that are very personal to me are meetings, day-to-day schedules, to-do lists, and then health. I think those can be put together in a significant way, potentially in something like an AIP. Chad, do you do AIP for liars? I'm not lying, dude. Like, it is what it is. Can Chad give you a job in Palantir? Everyone always asks this question, dude. I don't want to work at Palantir. If I worked at Palantir, I couldn't make videos. I couldn't stream. I couldn't do social media. It would be very selective. Not forget selective. They wouldn't let me post. They wouldn't let me create content. I can't talk about, dude, do you think I could post this if I worked at Palantir? Hold on. Let me show this. I probably could post this because maybe Palantir has a sense of humor, but I can't just openly talk about the stock if I work at Palantir. I can't post stuff like this if I work at Palantir. And that's not a Palantir, any corporate environment, dude. You can't post stuff if you're, or not, you can't post stuff, but you definitely can't talk about stocks. Okay. Like I can't be over here talking about, oh guys, I think the price might, like I like the freedom I have analyzing things without having to be employed by Palantir. So yeah, I wouldn't want to work at Palantir, even though it would be cool, but that would not be the thing I would want to do. For investor relations, no, dude, any job you have at a company, you can't talk, like Chad can't talk about the stock. He can talk about AIP and stuff like that, but he can't. It's kind of hard to be a finance dude and not talk about the stock. You know what I mean? So it's very limiting for the things that I care about, which is the stock market. Even though I love the company, it just wouldn't be something that I would be excited about because I wouldn't get to talk about anything. So yeah, I wouldn't want to work there. AIP should optimize my day. I agree. Oh, personal budgets. This is a good one. Chad. Personal budgets. Yeah. That's a great one, dude. Your how much you're spending on groceries, how much you're spending on subscriptions, all of that stuff. Personal budgeting, I think, could be an awesome use case along with day-to-day tasks, and then health could be really good. Michael says, if you got a job at Palantir, I'd have to rejoin the company because I wouldn't have your content anymore. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, it's fun continuing to just keep making content here. Edit your jokes. Wow. That is, can someone ban Michael Westcork? Can some of the mods ban? That's just me and Michael. We don't need AIP to edit my jokes. Okay. If anything, I'm the AI making the jokes. By the way, I thought of a really good joke that I'm not going to deploy right now. Notice I said deploy versus use. I'm getting into the software terminology as I speak my normal everyday life. I have a really good joke that I'm keeping in the back of my head. And the day I say that joke, you guys are going to die laughing. I thought of it yesterday in the car. Literally, I just thought of it yesterday. And so I do this sometimes. I store jokes in my subconscious and I deploy them when it's time for them to be deployed. But one day it's going to come out and you guys are going to be like, holy crap, that was the best joke ever. And I'm going to act like I came up with it on the spot. But in reality, it was in here the whole time. And it's going to be so cool because everyone's going to think I'm a genius that day for making that joke. Because I know that joke's going to work. I absolutely know that joke's going to work. But I'm going to act as if it's my own. And so we're not going to need AIP to do that. What if Palantir sponsored you? Would that curtail your freedom? Yeah, dude. Dude, there's a reason I haven't taken sponsorships, guys. I am getting so many messages and emails a day of like, sponsor this, sponsor that, sponsor this. And I'm just like, I don't want to do a sponsorship because then you're compromised immediately. As soon as you take money from someone, first of all, Palantir would not pay me because I talk so much about the stock, right? So that's just never going to happen. But you can't take a sponsorship and then be independent. And I think one of the things about social media, this goes back to my argument about narcissism with these CEOs giving their political beliefs when their companies have nothing to do with politics. Once you get some influence, once you get some followers, whatever, you feel like you have to put your ideas out into the world and put it on people. And once you get some influence, you also feel, oh, I have the power to manipulate people's perspectives, and therefore I can take this sponsorship money and get them to believe in this product or idea or their service. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the basic business of advertising. But I think from an influencer perspective, you've got to be really careful with that because A, what is sponsoring you? And B, what are the incentives behind your relationship with that company? And then how much is it really worth at the end of the day to push it on your audience? I think a lot of people take quick money very early in developing an audience. Like this is a 10, 20-year game for me. This is not a 10-month game. And so when you think of it from that perspective, there's not enough money that really makes it sense for this to work. Chad says, I like the medication and doctor appointment medical. Yeah, I think so as well. If you have medicines you have to take, if you have doctor appointments, if you have therapist checkups, all of that could also be very effective for AIP. Amit, you deserve to make money, dude. We'll all still watch if you start doing ads. So I agree with that 100%. And I think people would still watch if you do ads, right? It's not going to deter people from enjoying the content. I just think there's a level of, so basically I'm trying to keep my advertising virginity. If you get what I mean. Like there's you only lose it once, dude. The day you take a sponsor, you lost your virginity when it comes to the sanctity and innocence of a relationship with an audience. And I don't know if I'm ready to, everyone's like, oh, why don't you do Robinhood affiliate links? I'm like, cause I don't want to pump a Robinhood affiliate link. Like I don't care about making $10 for people that sign up to Robinhood because I talk about it. have thousands of people signed up to Robinhood because of me talking about it? I don't know if thousands, but maybe a couple hundred, sure. And maybe I left like $5 times 100, $500 on the table. But is that $500 really worth pumping an affiliate link? You know what I mean? Like, I've just never thought about it like that. So I think from a money perspective, if you can hold out on making money, if you can figure out a way to make money, maybe in the markets, you know, the thing that I'm actually trying to do, like do this full time as an investor, and you can do content for fun, then you can continue just growing the audience and make it as big as possible. And then inevitably there will be some type of money that comes as a result of that. But I don't think it has to be from like milking some ad and forcing people to buy some shitty product, quite frankly, that you don't even believe in. You know what I mean? That's how I think about it. Speaking of this, by the way, let me, I forgot to share this in the morning. This actually segues really nicely into what I was talking about. So I'm going to put this back in the chat. I haven't talked about it in like 2 weeks, and that's just because life's been very busy. One of the reasons that I also don't want to do advertising and sponsorships is because I like the connections that I'm making through the content. I mean, I have met so many people just by making content that is valuable to people, that doesn't, you know, push something down their throat like a course or anything like that. And as a result of that, people have just enjoyed connecting with me as a human being. One of the people I was able to connect with was my good friend, Derek Wall, who I started a VC fund with. So I want to put this again in the chat. If you have ideas, or if you know someone who has ideas, please email amitderekfund@gmail.com. We still didn't think of the name. We were on the phone yesterday for like 2 hours. We cannot think of it. If anyone has an idea for a name, let me know, because at this point, I can't think of a name. And so this goes back to my point about sponsorships. Making $20,000 from a sponsorship is not as relevant to me as someone from the community connecting with me, sending a good potential pre-seed startup to invest in. And then, you know, we make 20, 30x our money if the investment works. Now, obviously, most investments don't work. That's the nature of startups. But the point is, there are ways to monetize having a bigger audience and having distribution without having to literally pump an advertisement during your content. You know what I mean? And so me and Derek are still looking, man. Me and Derek are still looking. Derekfund@gmail.com. Last week has been really busy for him. And obviously you guys saw my last week with Carp and Sham. Like, it's been so busy for me. But we were on the phone yesterday for like 3 hours, and like, we're trying to find deals, and we are not getting good deals. Let's just say that every deal we're getting kind of sucks. And that's just what happens, right? With the venture investing, like, you usually don't get, you have to really fight to get a good deal. But I'm hoping that the leverage I have and the audience that we're growing, there's got to be someone here that has a startup idea, or there's got to be someone here that has a friend or a friend's cousin that needs funding. This will be the easiest funding you could ever get. Literally, this email and me. And if I don't respond to your email, which I will respond, you can literally spam in the chat, "Hey, Amit, I sent you an email, respond." So like, and trust me, I raised VC funding before, or angel funding before. It's not easy to get a meeting with an angel investor. You need distribution, you need leverage. This is the easiest check you could get in your life, because I'm right here. You know, and I'm not answering to any emails. So, you know, please make sure you try to reach out if you have any ideas, and we can keep going from there. But yeah, again, that goes to my point about just not taking sponsorship money. Like, there is a level of advertising virginity that I'm trying to keep safe, you know, and keep pure to an extent. I know that sounds corny, but it's like, there's not a lot of money that's worth the advertising virginity, because once you give it up, you know, and you want to make sure you keep it protected until it's like really the right moment to go for it. In fact, if I could go my whole life without ever having to do an advertisement, I think that would be the coolest scenario ever. I really do. If I could go the entire however many years I'm doing this, hopefully I'm doing this for a very long time, without having to say, "Hey guys, check out this link and go buy this product." I don't know, dude. I think that would be pretty cool, because then I could just focus on the art of creating. And then if money is not a concern and we can make money from something else, which is hard to do, dude. It's very hard to do when you're doing this full time. I think it would be worth it and make it pretty cool as well. So yeah, that's it. Not prom night yet. Yes, basically not prom night. Not prom night. Dude, my prom night was crazy. I didn't go to a prom house like most people do, but my prom night was still insane. I'll tell the story on another day. But it was, and the day after my prom night was actually the crazier day, because I didn't go to like a prom house like a lot of people did. But the day after was very fun. Let's just say that. It was very, very fun. Dude, prom was a while ago, dude. That was 2016. Goodness gracious. It's 2024. It's 8 years. What's a prom house? A prom house is when a bunch of 18-year-olds rent basically an Airbnb and they stay at that Airbnb right after prom. My mom said, no way in fucking hell are you. Like, I can't blame her, dude. I can't even blame her. My mom gave me a lot of liberty to do whatever the hell I wanted in high school. Go out, travel, all that stuff. But a prom house, she was like, dude, you're not staying with a bunch of 18-year-olds in a random house after prom. There's just no. And I was like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'm not even going to fight on that one. I'm not going to fight on that one. John says, how do I know if my idea is good enough to send it to you? Just send it. I mean, the worst we can say is no, right? The worst we can do, like, is when you have an idea and you want funding, the worst someone can say is no. And then you say, okay, and you move on with your life, right? But the point is we want to field as many ideas as possible, because I'm sure there's someone in this community that has something cool they're working on. And if they had a little bit of funding, they could get it off the ground, Granted, a lot of this shit is risky. And Derek, one thing I'll say about Derek, dude, he has a high threshold. This dude angel invested in, or a Series A, Series B invested in fucking Slack, Twilio. I mean, just like so many, like yesterday he told me he invested in Twilio. I was like, what, Twilio? You were an investor in fucking Twilio? Like, these are multi-$100 billion companies, or at least tens of billions of dollars in market cap that he was in, when they were worth a couple $100 million. So he has a very high threshold for looking at ideas. My threshold is not that high because I'm still learning how to evaluate this stuff. But the point is, send it and see what we can do. AIP to optimize personal vitamin supplements intake on a daily basis for optimal health. Yeah, a lot of people messaged or recommended the health one, Mr. Alex Karp, otherwise known as Ani. Is that you, Ani? I think that's Ani. I think the health one is a great one. I think the health one is a great one. I graduated 25 years ago, never went to prom. Yeah, I enjoyed prom. I mean, it was cool. Dude, but by the time I got to the end of high school, I really didn't have a lot of friends, not because I was antisocial, but because I got so obsessed with debate that I didn't really care about friends, quite frankly. And it's just kind of how my life went. I mean, I think I showed this here before, but let me show it again. Like when I say I got obsessed with debate, dude, I'm serious. I really got obsessed with debate. These are the high school rankings on the National Debate website. There's my name right there, number 7. Every time I say I was the number 7 debater in the United States, people are like, is that actually true? It's like, this is it. I should have been number 5, dude. I beat the number 4 guy. The number 3 guy beat me. The number 2 guy beat me. I beat the number 1 guy. I beat the number 4 guy, and I beat the number 5 guy. I never debated the number 6 guy. So I feel like if I had done like a little better at one of the tournaments, I would have gotten to the top 5, but I was number 7, right? So the point I'm trying to make is I gave up all of my social life except my girlfriend in high school for debate, who I ended up going to prom with. So literally, I talked to nobody in high school. Dude, and this is how you'll know this is the truth. On the day of graduation, I have 0 pictures with anyone other than my family and my girlfriend, who was my girlfriend back then. That's it. So like I took 0 pictures. How graduation is supposed to take pictures with your friends? I took 0 pictures because honestly, I just didn't give a fuck about anybody, dude. And it's not like I hated them or anything. I was good friends with them my junior year, but by the end of my junior year, I decided to go into another level when it came to like really taking over in the debate circuit. And that's how I got to be top 7 in the country. And I was one of top 3 public speakers in Europe. So that's when I eliminated everything from my life except my family and my girl. But prom was still fun because I got to take my girlfriend to the prom. And even though I didn't do the prom house, we still had a good time at prom. But I definitely didn't keep my friends that close to me. Michael Wilder says, I heard Amit talking about his ladies on the stream. Yup, you heard right, Michael Wilder. You heard right. Did you wear a snazzy outfit to prom? Yes, I did. I actually wore an Indian outfit to prom. I wore an Indian outfit to prom. I don't want to show the prom picture though, because the girl's in there, and I don't want to show her. I mean, I don't want to make her life public. She's a private individual. But I wore an Indian outfit to prom, and it was super cool because everyone saw me pull up to prom, and I was looking like a Bollywood star, dude. I didn't want to wear a tux and fucking suit because I was like, what is it's like a black blazer with a tie or like a bow tie. I was like, that's not exciting. And so I've always been eccentric, and in the words of Karp, a bit eclectic when it came to my personality. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to prom with an Indian outfit. And I did. And it was fun. So that's what I did That's what I did for prom. Do you have any videos of you debating? Yes, I do. So here's one video. I'll just share it here, and then I'll get you guys out of here. I have videos of me debating super fast, and then I have videos of me debating super slow publicly. So there's two types of debates. There's debates where you debate really slow for like regular people, and then there's a type of debate that I did that was very, very fast. We're talking about 300-400 words a minute, which is why I can talk so fast. It's really because debate taught me how to do that. The slow debate was on the National USA debate team that I was a part of back in 2016. And the fast debate was more domestic. So the slow debate is actually on YouTube. The fast debate I have like in my own hard drives. But this is the video for anyone who wants to watch it. The topic here was race versus class. Which one is more important? And we were on the side of class versus race. And we should have won, but we fucking lost to Denmark on a 3-2 decision. We got Elon'd, bro. We literally got Elon'd. This is me right here. I was doing my thing. Look at that. Look at the hand movements, dude. I was spinning. I was doing what I had to do. So it kind of sucked that we lost. It really sucked. I didn't look at this. Look at this, dude. I was spitting. But we lost. And the reason we lost to, honestly, we were in Slovenia this was the finals of the Slovenian tournament. We lost 3-2. One of the judges, it was a 5-2 decision. This is going to sound like an excuse, but I swear it's not. One of the judges was the Croatian judge. And at the Croatia tournament, 2 months before this tournament, we beat the Croatians on a 4-3 decision. So that Croatian judge, who was the Croatian coach for that team, she was pissed, dude. She was pissed because the Croatian team was in finals in Croatia. So they were hosting the European finals in Croatia, and Croatia's national team got to finals. Now, Croatia's not a good team. Croatia sucks. I'm sorry, but Croatia has never historically been a good debate team. Like Singapore's been amazing. Pakistan's been amazing. Canada's been amazing. Malaysia's been amazing. No one gives a fuck about Croatia. Somehow, I don't know how these guys did it. They got to finals, and we got to finals, and we whooped their ass. I remember the topic. The topic was, do you support the rise of China? And they said yes, because the rise of China has been good for like uplifting poverty and all the good arguments for why like China is successful and it helps people geopolitically, GDP, all that stuff. And we said the shit that China has done to be able to achieve what they've achieved from a utilitarian perspective. So we made a deontological argument around the human rights abuses that China went through to be able to get the success that they've achieved outweighs the success and the material ramifications of China's policies. And on a 4-3 decision, we beat the Croatians. So then that Croatian judge was one of the judges in the Denmark finals, or in the Slovenia finals against Denmark. And on top of that, she hated Trump. And we dealt with a lot of this shit, dude. A lot of the European judges, they hated Trump. Like when I tell you they hated this guy. And we debated in March of 2016, basically January to April 2016. And Trump was making headlines. Trump was like, he was the pseudo representative of the United States. He ended up winning the election, and no one in Europe liked him, dude. Like we were losing rounds against countries that I don't even remember the name of. I'm sorry to those countries, but we were losing to like the United States, dude, the United States of America. You know how embarrassing it was to lose to some of these no-name countries? I'm being very sort of being very military patriotic here, but we were losing to like Uzbekistan or some shit. And we would get the decision. It would be a 2-1. The way debate works is there's 3 judges. The chair is in the middle, and then you have 2 wings. And the chair is usually the most qualified of the panel. And we would be winning the chair's vote, and we would be losing the wings. And so it would be a 2-1 against us, for fucking Uzbekistan. And we'd be like, hold on, what the fuck is going on here? Like what's going on here? And then we would talk to like other people who talk to the judges, and the debate's really politics, so you got to like know a lot of people from here and there. And they were like, yeah, dude, that judge they hate the United States. And we'd be like, are you serious? They'd be like, dude, there were people who told us you had 0 chance in hell winning that judge's ballot just because you're from the United States. That was their way to like, to represent their hatred for Donald Trump. And they thought we were the Trumpians or something. And it's like, we're just some high school kids like trying to debate a topic. And so the opponents, they would also, and the Denmark girl, let me show you, the Denmark girl, dude. I hated this Denmark girl so much. I hated this. I hate her so much, dude. She kept saying, oh, the Trump supporting Americans, blah, 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 blah. every single time she got on stage. I'm going to play a little bit of what she sounds like.
Dangerous neighborhood, he is more likely to be shot, and that is why it is inherently more important.
Dude,
two things I want to take this reply.
Her voice was so annoying, dude, and she just blamed us for like being Trump-loving Americans or whatever. And the judges would buy into the narrative from these 18-year-old kids that were accusing us of being racist and evil because Trump is the Republican nominee. And I was just like, are we actually losing to these arguments, dude? Like it was insane. It was absolutely insane. And so we ended up winning a good amount that year, but we should have been like world champions. And we did not become world champions because at the final world tournament in Germany, Trump, that was in June, Trump was basically on his way to become the president and everyone hated us, dude. Like again, I cannot believe some of the countries we lost to. These were countries that, forget developing nations, they were developing a debate team. Like the United States has had a debate team for like 30 years. So like you would think you get the benefit of the doubt. And nope, these judges just didn't go our way. And again, some people may say, oh, it's he's complaining or he's you guys just weren't as good. Dude, we were good. We were a good fucking team. We were good. Me and my boy Nick, Julia got accepted to Harvard and Stanford, dude. Julia was a rock star. She was great. Liz was on the team. She's in California. She was great. Milran is he's another Indian kid from California. He was great. Like we were really good kids, and we were way better than fucking Uzbekistan. But we probably weren't better than Canada, Malaysia, and Singapore. Those three, I don't know how those three countries keep getting to the finals every year, but those three countries are really good. We weren't in Australia. We lost on a 2-1 to Australia, which is actually good because Australia is like a very good team. But we were losing to some weird team. Also some European countries we were losing to at the finals. I'm trying to remember I think we lost to Poland or something. And it just wasn't making sense. It just wasn't making sense. Is this segment amidst therapy corner? No, you got me talking about like fucking my debate life. And I was like, why did I even bring this up? I don't know why I brought this up. I have no idea why I got into this thing about debate, but the point is, I should have been top 5 in the country and we should have won the world championship that year, but we didn't. Money, that's why. Oh, we were talking about advertising and the advertising virginity. How did I get from advertising virginity to debate? How did I get from advertising? I don't even know, dude. Then we have no idea. How did we fucking do it? How did we get here? Mate, you sure you don't want BetterHelp as a sponsor? Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, dude. It was a question on past debates. Oh yeah, someone asked me, do you have your debate? So yes, this video you guys can watch. This is the only debate that's public. The other ones I have on my hard drive. Maybe I'll show them one day if you guys want to see it, but this one is right here. Oh yeah, talking about friends in high school. Yeah, I talked about how I gave up friends to pursue debate. And I don't regret it, dude. I don't regret it. Also, the winter ball, I'll end it on this. The winter ball in 2016. I missed the winter ball, which is like the winter dance, the winter version of prom, to go win the championship at Ridge. So Ridge is a school in New Jersey and they have a tournament every year. And I had lost the year before in like octos. And this time I was like, nah, bro, I'm not fucking losing this shit. But it was on the day of the winter, whatever you call it, the winter ball. And so I did not do the winter ball because I wanted to win this debate. So I was trying to see if I could pull it up, but yeah, I ended up winning first place at that tournament and I don't regret it. I don't regret giving up friends to pursue debate because the debate skills I got and the communication skills I got, I think are the reason why I'm here today. And honestly, dude, and I think most people in the chat can agree, no one talks to their friends from high school. Like no one, even a couple friends I would say very close with, I haven't talked to in like 6 months. And so I think like friends are so overrated in high school. Even in college, I keep in contact with like 5 or 6 of them, maybe. And that's like once a year I talk to these guys. Friends are on an ongoing basis, So being popular in high school and college, it seems good in the moment, which in some versions you should care about those moments and making those memories. But if you're really good at something like basketball, debate, chess, like something that really grabs your attention, I feel like the sacrifice is not the worst thing in the world. Michael says, true, LOL, especially when you get old. Yeah, dude, when you get older, you don't have the time to like I have 4 friends who are girls. They're not my girlfriends, but these were like my closest quote unquote girlfriends, right? Friends who were girls in college. Mona, Sherry, Temi, and Sarah. Like my best friends, dude. We did everything together. They were like really, really good friends. That was kind of like my clique in college, my senior year. And they've been trying to do a Zoom for like 4 months. and we do not have a time to do a Zoom. Like I'm just, and I honestly, I don't feel like doing a Zoom, dude. Like I don't care about giving them updates about, like, how could I explain what's happening in my life to these people, dude? No one understands it. No one understands that I like talk to a camera all day. No one understands that I'm like building an audience online. No one understands that I'm fucking stalking Robinhood's balance sheet all day. Where's Robinhood right now, by the way? Let's see where is this fucker over 21 after hours? Tell me we're at 21. Tell me 2098, baby. We are here in those high 20 ranges. Like, no one cares that I'm this obsessed with this stuff. No one cares about Palantir. No one gets it. No one understands it. So it's even hard for me to post on LinkedIn, dude. I'm like, how do I even talk to LinkedIn? All these people are from college. Like, they have no idea what I'm doing. It's not some corporate professional type of life I'm living. I'm just out here trying to like make shit happen. And no one really gets it, you know? So it's kind of hard talking to friends. Davis says, are we more than friends? Yes, Davis. I have to show you that GIF I tweeted in public today, one day as well for you. Kelly says she understands. Now, Kelly definitely went through it. Kelly not only dropped out of high school, but she ended up building a pretty big business throughout her years when she should have been in college, right? When most people go to college, she ended up going down the entrepreneurial path. So it's really hard to tell people, you know, especially Kelly. She's from a small town in Canada, and in Canada, they hate capitalism, especially if you're in a small town. So like, how do you tell people that you're running a 7-figure online business when no one gets it? You know, how do you tell your friends, like, yeah, I'm like making a show every morning, and, you know, a couple thousand people show up and they listen to me talk about the equity markets. Like, no one gets it, dude. No one fucking understands it. No one at all. Michael says, I think we understand. Yeah, you guys understand. You guys, like, as the audience, understand so well because you're living through it. You're in it. You're in the content. Some of you make content, right? Everyone's on Twitter interacting. But like, the outside world has like no fucking idea. No clue. Hawk Sung says, are you mad at me for pooping on Vlad? Dude, again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. My skin is so thick. If you saw it at a club, you would ask for its number. Okay. I have a thick skin. I really do. I don't think I've blocked probably one person on Twitter in 3 years. And that's because I think they just kept spamming me. But I don't block anybody. I don't do any of that stuff. I have a very thick skin. And I noticed some people on Twitter, quite frankly, when they get into debates, they start feeling like super offended and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, it's fucking Twitter. Like, if you're going to put out ideas publicly, you have to be willing to take the memes and all that stuff that come back at you. Like, it's just, if not, then like, you're not ready to create content, right? So you can poop on Vlad. You can, I don't want to say poop on me, dude, because this reminds me of Two Girls, One Cup, but you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want around me or Vlad. I don't give a shit. I just don't take offense to anything anymore, dude. Like, I just really don't. I'm getting to the point where I don't care. I really don't care. And I think you can't care, because if you do care, then it's very difficult to be successful in this world. That's why, you know, I'll say this right now. A lot of people were messaging me about this, but I'll just mention it right here. We did end up hitting 50,000 on Twitter. So that happened yesterday night, 50,000 followers on Twitter. It is pretty cool. It is kind of wild, but we are working and grinding. And everyone who asks, how does it feel? Like, I got a bunch of messages today and yesterday. My argument, it was the same argument when we hit 30,000 on YouTube, it is such a cutthroat competitive environment trying to make it in media, Robin, at $20.99 after hours, that you can't really celebrate those moments, dude. You really can't. That's why I never post about updates about subscribers or follow. I just don't do it, because if you start celebrating those moments, at least personally, I feel you start getting complacent. And even if it's just like even if it's not a realistic thing I'm talking about, I think there is some level of subconscious complacency that I do not want to have when it comes to growing. Because one of the things about growing on social media is that it's not that different from growing anything else like that you might try to pursue. Growing a business, you need to grow top line revenue. Growing social media, you need to grow top line followers, top line views, top line metrics, top line engagement, blah, blah, blah. You need to like get into the granular details of your enterprise, your business, your e-com store, whatever. And you need to grow that motherfucker, and it needs to keep growing. And if you can't keep growing it, you can't do this independently. Why do people get a job? Because it's so hard to grow anything that they create by themselves. This is why I have so much respect for someone like Elon and Zuckerberg, even if, you know, people may have their opinions about that. They took ideas that were nothing and they turned them into $1 trillion enterprises. Tesla not $1 trillion, but eventually it'll get there. And so growing anything, whether it's a social media following or a business, it takes so much work, so much dedication, so much fucking like, just like heads down, like just don't think about the progress, but just keep progressing. That's good. Don't think about the progress, but keep progressing. I feel like you can't celebrate those moments and you got to keep going. But again, how do you explain that to your friends? How do you tell them? How do you say like, oh yeah, like we're like, if I told my friends, dude, I have 50,000 followers on Twitter, they'd be like, what the fuck? They'd be like, like why? Like who's like, what is like, and I'm like, oh, I talk about stocks. They're like, who cares about stocks on Twitter? It's like, they don't even know that there is a totally crazy different world that's out there. You got to grow. You got to grow, dude. It's so hard to grow. And I've tried, you guys know me. I've tried to grow many things in the past. I've tried to grow multiple businesses, startups, ideas. When I was little, I had all these different, when I was in high school, all these different ideas. It is so fucking hard to grow anything on this planet, given that attention is becoming incredibly competitive and people's resources are limited, time and money, that if something's growing, you fucking go all in and you grow it and you figure out, the monetization later, which goes back to the point about the advertising virginity. If something's growing, you don't mess it up by injecting money into it, trying to monetize it when the monetization might deter the growth, because the growth is ultimately what matters more. Because when you grow anything, eventually you will make money off it. But if you try to make money short term before you really grow it, then I think you end up leaving a lot of growth on the table. At least those are my thoughts on how I think about that. I find it hard to grow my portfolio. That's true. That's also fucking true, dude. It's really hard to grow a portfolio. And that's the other thing I'm trying to do by the end of this year, dude. If we can grow the portfolio to a decent point and use that to be able to generate income, then that's actually more exciting to me. And that's why I do that podcast with TJ with Wheeling Options. It's real. I'm so grateful I met TJ, because selling options, I know we're in a bull market and I know it's easy to sell options in a bull market, but then again, it's easy to buy stocks in a bull market also. So whenever someone says, oh, you're only making money on options because it's a bull market, it's like, motherfucker, everyone's only making money because it's a bull market. So if you think we have a bull market for the next 4 or 5 years, I think options and selling options in particular is a meaningful strategy to take advantage of that bull market. But it is the only thing I've seen in the stock market that is consistent income that you can mathematically predict, that you can reasonably hedge yourself against the downside if you pick the right company, and that it's not as similar to gambling by buying options or even buying equities. And so it's really been an unlock for me of just like, yo, if you have enough capital, that can actually be something that sustains your livelihood. And if that's the case, you don't have to worry about begging people to subscribe to your Patreon. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to keep doing. Jonathan says, Amit just doesn't want to get real bricks. These are real bricks. I will keep saying it until you guys believe me, but these are real bricks. My lemonade stand. I think I had a lemonade stand when I was little. I just, so many things have failed, dude. I have so many failures, but it's like you got to have those failures. And that's another thing that makes me super grateful about this opportunity is like when you failed as much as I've had in a variety of things, when something's working, like you fucking like, you're humbled by the fact that, oh my God, something's actually like, we're actually doing something. If we're making some noise, let's make some fucking noise. Let's not try to charge $5 a month in the process of making noise. Let's make some noise, dude. And so growth is hard. And if you ever come across growth in any aspect of your life, even professionally, if you're at a good job and you think you're about to become the corporate VP, you make sure those 2 years when you're like a junior VP, you work your ass off to get to that corporate VP, because it's very difficult even to advance in the corporate bureaucratic structure that exists in most companies as well. So growth in general is hard. We want to keep growing, got to keep doing what we got to do. And that's why we're here. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys listening to my rant. I think at the end of the market close, we end up just ranting for like 20 minutes. So for those that stay till the end of the market close, I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I'll see you guys on the market open tomorrow. That Palantir Guardian article response video is coming out later today, probably in like 3 hours. So at around 8:30, that'll be out tonight. And then market open tomorrow as well. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Deeply appreciate you guys being here on the market close and the market open. Hope you guys keep getting value out of the show. There's a lot of innovations coming to the show that I'm working on behind the scenes in terms of guest contributors and just a variety of other things, studio, all that stuff. So hopefully in the next couple of months, the show gets even more enjoyable and better to everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow in the morning. Bye.